President Trump is continuing his trek across the Middle East, making a stop in Qatar today for meetings with the country's leadership. During the trip, Trump is announcing trade deals worth billions of dollars, while also stirring controversy on a variety of fronts. Joining us to discuss is the Hill's Sarakchi Rai. So the latest controversy has to do with Syria. Trump met with Syrian President Ahmed Al-Sharaa on Wednesday. Why is that meeting important?
That's right, Drew. Now, this is the first time the leaders of the United States and Syria have met in over 25 years, right? This meeting was facilitated by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and Trump met with the Syrian leader right before he left Saudi for Qatar. Now, one of the reasons why this is important is because, let's not forget, it was Ahmed Al-Shara's group that basically ousted the previous Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad. And, Trump has lifted sanctions from Syria, and this move is to normalize relations between the US and Syria, which will change the way Syria is able to do business with a lot of the world. So, extremely monumental move here from President Trump. But essentially, he also went on to praise the Syrian leader. He called him an attractive guy. He called him a strong leader. And he said that, he will be great for the country. So the president heaping praise on Ahmed Al-Sharaa as well after his meeting.
And President Trump also promising to remove sanctions that were imposed on Syria when Bashar al-Assad was ruling the country. Israel, though, is highly skeptical of Syria's new leadership. It seems like Trump is ignoring those concerns with this overture. What is the foundation of Israel and other foreign policy experts, even in the United States? What's the foundation of their concern over this overture to Syria?
That's right. I mean, Al-Sharaa, who is now the leader of Syria and the president since his group ousted Bashar al-Assad, I mean, he used to lead a wing of Al-Qaeda. So this is kind of unprecedented in a way that, he is now the leader of this country that the United States is dealing with. But essentially, what is happening on this trip now, the president is on the second leg of his Middle East trip. He is in Qatar, he was in Saudi Arabia, and then he's going to go on to the United Arab Emirates very soon. And essentially, there is this view held by some that Israel is being snubbed by the president right now. Now, the president pushed back vehemently on those claims, saying that, his relationship with these Middle Eastern countries like Saudi, like Qatar, like the UAE, and his good relationships with these countries can only be good for Israel when they do, have those talks. Now, one of the things to note is that the Palestinian Health Authority has been saying that there have been, a lot of missiles that have injured and killed Palestinians since the Trump visit started to the Middle East. Now, this is in defiance of what the Trump administration is trying to do. The president has been adamant on trying to get Israel and the Palestinians to agree to another round of ceasefire agreement, which has largely been ignored by Israel right now. So, the president pushing back on any kind of claims that Israel is being sidelined. So, he's continuing to insist that this can only be good if he has a good relationship with the Middle Eastern countries.
This isn't the only instance, though, of the Trump administration appearing to sideline Israel and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel reportedly did not participate in negotiations with Hamas over the latest release of an American hostage. There's this truce with the Houthis that Trump announced that didn't really include Israel. Trump says he wants to negotiate with Iran over its nuclear program. There's been a flood of anti-Israel right-wing content on social media over the last few months. Should Israel supporters be concerned over the direction that this administration is taking?
Well, the president has been extremely adamant. He spoke with reporters on Air Force One on his hour-long flight between Saudi Arabia and Doha. And when he was flying, and he told reporters that it is absolutely untrue that, if he has a good relationship with Saudi, Qatar, the UAE, that it would impact his relationship with Israel. Those two are unrelated. He's really on a bit of a triumphant tour of the Middle East. His speech in Saudi Arabia went down very well with the Saudis. You saw Mohammed bin Salman really looking, quite pleased with how his speech was taken. The reception from the Saudis was, great from the president. And he also signed a slew of deals with Saudi Arabia. He's going to announce another slew of business deals with Qatar, and then as well as with the UAE. So for the president, at least, he is on this first foreign trip of his second term of his presidency, and he has been very clear with reporters, at least, that if he has a great relationship with these Middle Eastern countries, it really will not impact his relationship with Israel.
Notable, though, that he's not actually stopping in Israel during this Mideast trip. But with Trump in Qatar, we should probably talk about this plane controversy. The country says it wants to give President Trump a $400 million plane that he would use as Air Force One while he's president, and then eventually be given to his presidential library, which I assume he could continue using once he leaves office. It's been roundly criticized. Democrats have been extremely critical of the move, but even some Republicans have said they feel uncomfortable with this announcement. What is the latest on that?
That's right, Drew. We heard from the president actually in the early hours of Wednesday morning, Eastern time, and there he kind of equated this this plane that, this luxury jet that Qatar is trying to gift him, $400 million worth, and equated it to the French gifting the United States the Statue of Liberty. So he is still adamant that, he would be stupid to refuse this $400 million luxury jet gift. He is traveling around the Middle East on Air Force One, which is quite an old and aging plane. We know that, his new Air Force One has been delayed by a couple of years, and there's still no timeline on when he would be receiving that delivery that he so wants. And, he has been wanting to refurbish the inside of Air Force One as well. So, the latest on this is that the president is pushing the fact that, this $400 million luxury jet gift is similar to the French gifting the United States the Statue of Liberty. But this has been roundly criticized by Democrats. They've called it humiliating. They've called it, unconstitutional. But also by Republicans who have, in their own way, raised their concerns, not in as vehement a way as the Democrats have, but they have said that, they think that this would be a bad idea. They've said that they think that it's maybe not the best to accept this gift. And there have been concerns, at least from security officials on, whether this might have, any tracking devices. Could it track the president? I mean, what's the, could it be used to spy on the United States leader, or could it be, considered a bribe? So there have been lots of criticism, and Congress united on this, both Republicans and Democrats, Drew.
Yeah, and some of the criticism there is whether the juice is actually worth the squeeze when you talk about all the work that would have to be done to make sure that plane is actually safe for the president to use. After Qatar, President Trump heading to UAE, I'm sure he'll continue to make headlines there, and we will continue to follow. But for now, we'll leave it at that. Ahmed Al-Sharaa, thanks so much for your time.